No, not yet. Oh, fuck's sake. Hi, everybody. I just pressed the button and went live early. I know, but I can't really stop it without it then. Anyway, hi, everyone, and welcome to Independent Venue Love, Volume 10. This is the least professional thing of all time. But I have good news, everybody. We got new Wi-Fi this morning. And judging by the speed test stuff, it should be better than it was before. That is the great news. I'm sure that people will let us know. But in the meantime, hi everybody. That was, oh fuck, that's a bit tilted back. Hold on, come on. See, this was all the stuff I was planning on doing when I opened up my phone, but ended up just starting the live stream instead. Hi, welcome. I do this for a living. Right, I'm just gonna, well, I don't do this for a living, that's true. Anyway, hi, welcome everybody, Frank Turner here, Independent Venue Love Volume 10, welcome to the show. We are here today talking about independent venues, as ever. This is number 10, and that's not including the label one that we did, and indeed the crew fundraiser at the beginning, so this is the 12th one of these. I would not have thought at the beginning of all of this that we would be 12 shows deep, but here we fucking are. So, yes, welcome. I have my glamorous assistant over there. Does it seem like the stream is good to people?
I've had messages already from friends, and it is much better.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm not going to slag off our old internet, but our new... well, not by name, because that seems needless
Not on
to
the
me.
live stream, but for
Not
every
on the
other
live
second
stream,
of the day.
but yeah, not in public. Anyway, so welcome. Today we are doing a number of things. We are playing No Man's Land in full, which is exciting. And then we are also raising funds for the Portland Arms in Cambridge. Here is the fundraiser thing. I will shout about this often, as per usual. You guys know the drill. Those of you who've seen one of these before, you know, if you have any spare cash, throw it in the bucket. We'll talk about that more in a bit. But in the meantime, just moving my set list forward here. Let's get started. I think because of the nature of this record, I want to just talk a little bit about the songs before I play them. Just tell a few little stories. This is a song. This is kind of the first song I wrote for this project because I was trying to write a song about Camden in North London, which is one of my favourite places in the world. You know, Suggs has written this kind of straight up song about Camden, so I thought I'd try and write something slightly different. And the Underworld and the World's End, which is kind of one complex, if you like, and they have signs up all over the place telling you about the life of Ginny Bingham, who was a woman from the 17th century who lived there, who was accused of being a witch, but she started a pub called the Old Mother Redcap that was there. A number of her husbands died as she got older. She became less popular with the community and got accused of witchcraft, but of course she wasn't a witch. There's no such thing. She was an independent woman running a business 400 years ago, and it's a remarkable thing and worth celebrating, not least because in some shape or form the business is still there. So it's a true story. They're all true stories this evening. This song is called Ginny Bingham's Ghost. If you're heading down to Camden Town, be sure to raise a toast to the patron saint of the waifs and strays, to Ginny Bingham's ghost. Well, once she was a fresh-faced lass from Kentish town she came. Her people, they were peddlers, Ginny Bingham was her name. And with her husband, Gypsy George, a Camden coach house they did keep, till they hung him by his neck from Tyburn Tree for stealing sheep. It broke her heart to lose her love when she was just a child, so a man named Darby took the hand of Ginny, meek and mild. He was a drinker, not a thinker, till he brought his wife to tears, until one Camden winter morning Darby simply disappeared. If you're heading down to Camden Town, be sure to raise a toast to the patron saint of the wasted strays, Ginny Bingham's ghost. She earned a reputation on those bitter Camden streets. If you tarry with the Bingham girl, you'd hold your manhood cheap. But even so, the miser pitcher was the third man on her lips, till one night they checked her oven and found him burned up to a crisp. They tried her for his murder, thought they finally cooked her goose, but even when the fourth man died, Ginny somehow set the noose. He was a fugitive from justice, for love she took him in, but he beat her once too often and the poison did him in. If you're heading down to Camden Town, be sure to raise a toast to the patron saint of the wasted strays, Ginny Bingham's ghost. The locals didn't like her, forces followed her around. They called her wicked woman, sorceress of some renown. Swore the day she died, they swore they saw the devil by her side. A mob broke down her door, and from her chair her body pried. The tavern is still standing, it's now called the Underworld, and it still offers sanctuary to all broken boys and girls. So let's head down to Camden Town and folks, let's raise a toast to the patron saint of the wasted strays, Ginny Bingham's ghost. That was the big reveal.
Yeah, no one knows I'm here.
Yes, anyway, and of course, I thought that for once we have somebody who actually played on the record in the building. So, hi, how you doing, darling?
I'm good.
So yes, welcome, Independent Venue Love, Volume 10. Also, just before we crack on, we can't really do anything right now without mentioning what's going on in the world right now, and it's a very worrying and scary time, particularly in the United States. And we are white and English and middle class, and we are not the people who have the direct experiences of the injustices that are being protested right now, and indeed, I'm not sure that we're the people who should be leading any kind of conversation about this. Nevertheless, of course, we are worried about our friends in the States and worried about a country that we love very much. But also, it's important to stay standing in solidarity with the protests about George Floyd's death and Black Lives Matter and all that kind of thing. So, solidarity for all that kind of stuff. Just for the avoidance of doubt. And I hope that everyone is keeping safe and well. And I hope that this is the beginning of something that will lead us to a better place. But who knows? Anyway, I had to say that.
Yeah.
It was important.
It was.
It is important. It will continue to be important, and we will do what we can. There are tons and tons of there is so much information out there about fundraisers you can donate to, petitions you can sign, all that kind of thing, which may not change the entire world, but it's something, and that seems meaningful to me. Anyway, speaking of, this is a song about the great sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was an African American gospel singer from the Deep South. Who, by channeling her own experience of holy roller, that her religious experience, she channeled it into the way that she played electric guitar in her gospel music, which was unusual anyway, and in the process kind of accidentally invented rock and roll, and was then written out the script because she, by the sort of 50s, she was a middle-aged black, possibly gay woman, and she was just so iconoclastic, and she was amazing, and there's footage out there, and
very ahead of her time.
very ahead of her time. And I'm a white lady who plays music that was influenced by invented by black artists, so the very least that I can do is acknowledge that from the platform that I have in life. So this is a song called Sister Rosetta. Godmother of rock and roll, the original sister of soul, all the music was in her. She brought rhythm for days in the suburbs of Philly, down by the river. She still had music in the air, up above her head and everywhere, on a train bound for glory. Rosetta rolled her eyes when she played. She knew that strange things happen every day, and that the white boy hype would eventually fade, but the way that she played would remain. Rosetta rolled her eyes when she played. She knew that strange things happen every day, and that the white boy hype would eventually fade, but the way that she played would remain. Rosetta's in the Hall of Fame. Rosetta's in the Hall of Fame. Rosetta's in the Hall of Fame.
So everyone can see me with my enthusiastic clapping.
Yes, I know. This is what you've been missing
Yeah, I've got really good at clapping.
every week. All right, so moving onwards, we have quite a few announcements this week, but because I haven't said it all in full yet, the Portland Arms in Cambridge is amazing. It's the archetypal underground punk rock. People use the term toilet circuit. I actually think that's kind of endearing, but whatever you want to call it, it's the grassroots music venue of choice in the fine city of Cambridge. I first played there in 2002. With Million Dead, and have played there many times since, and I love it, and it's a wonderful place, and the people of Cambridge know this, but when we were chatting about it the other day, I described it as being the Joiners Arms of Cambridge, which is about the highest praise that I could give them. So it's a really important place. Same rules apply. If you would have paid £10, £20, whatever it might be, to come to a gig that was like this, you could stick that money in the pot. If you have been furloughed, or if you are still working and earning money, and are able to do this kind of thing, it would be awesome to do that. Of course, some people can't. I understand that. It's a free show in principle, but if you can donate, please do. If you're drinking a can of beer from the fridge, they cost you £1. I'm drinking Kronenberg today.
That definitely cost me at least £1.50. But...
Well, there we go. But it would have cost you more in a pub, and you can put the difference into the pot. So, cheers, everybody.
I'm on Bucks Fizz.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
The band.
The band.
There's like a rock opera to be written about Bucks Fizz, and the fact that at one point there were 3 Bucks Fizzes touring at the same time is incredible, as far as I'm aware. Anyway, so let's do a couple of these announcements because there's so many of them to get through. First of all, Annette and Robert Livesey is their 30th wedding anniversary today. Woo! And indeed, I think I'm right in saying it's Robert's 52nd birthday as well.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, I got married on his birthday. How lovely.
I think so. I think I'm reading this right. What else do we have to talk about here? Also, these are some age non-specific birthdays.
Oh, good.
Jonathan Hale has a birthday, and it's
You were born!
Well done for being born, Jonathan Hale! Erin in Wisconsin also has a birthday. Well done, Erin in Wisconsin. Ellen Walsh in Massachusetts has a birthday. And Beth Quarterman, whose entire family and circle of friends all emailed me. Well done there, Beth's family and friends, for being so thorough about it. Beth Quarterman, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
I hope you're having a wonderful birthday. Anyway, this is a song about Catherine Blake, who was William Blake's wife. William Blake, the great visionary and painter of 18th century London, who was also out of his fucking mind. And she sort of... They met. He sort of proposed to her within about 15 minutes of meeting her.
Did she faint when she saw him?
Yeah, I think. Well, and then his pickup line was, "Do you pity me?" And then she went, "Yes." And then he said, "Will you marry me?" And she said, "Yes." And then they stayed married for the entirety of their lives.
Lads.
Yeah. He died before her, and she was sort of one of the only people who really understood his sort of theology and his art. And I just sort of figured that would be an odd position to be in. I was reading the great Peter Ackroyd's biography of William Blake, and she struck me as a character who deserved more notice in life. So this is a song called "I Believed You," William Blake. Have you seen my husband? You'd know if you had. He's known around old London town. Most people think he's mad. My husband, he talks with angels and with spirits that he can see. He passes time with the divine, but not so much with me. But I held him when shadows, some with pity and with scorn. The great and good, they never could recognize the prophet born. With poetry and engravings, he presented paradise. He revealed to them a Jerusalem they could not recognize. But I held him when he faltered, when earth and faith did shake. On my grave the words will say, I believed you, William Blake. I know, I was clapping your lovely singing, darling. So we've got so many birthdays today, I'm going to do them in decades.
Oh, God.
So, and we're going to start with my favourite ones. Today, Riley is 2.
Aww.
Happy birthday, Riley! Woo! Nice work. Emma is 5. Nice work, Emma! Yay!
Halfway through your first decade, amazing.
I know. Xander, who is somebody who I know because we hung out in Wilkes Bar.
Oh, it's not. I've got a nephew called Xander.
Oh, no, different Xander. Xander, who I hung out with in Wilkes Bar in Pennsylvania, or Wilkes Barre. I still can't remember how you pronounce the name of that town. And who I christened Sooty on the occasion. Today, Xander is 6 years old. Happy birthday, Xander! Sooty! Oi! And then one more of these. Henry and Genevieve Shepherd are both in the region of being 8 years old, according to my notes. Henry and Genevieve, happy birthday! Woo! Anyway, right, this next song is about Nica Rothschild, a woman of the 20th century, a daughter of the famous Rothschild family, called Panonica, which is a type of moth, because her dad was a naturalist, not a naturist.
Maybe both, who knows?
I'm pretty sure he wasn't.
Yeah. No.
Anyway, so she was known as Nica, and essentially she was a remarkable woman. She fought with the Free French in the war against the Nazis. In the late 1940s, she was changing planes in New York City, and legend has it overheard the song Round Midnight by Thelonious Monk on the bar stereo, and basically ditched her entire life and decided to dedicate herself to jazz and jazz musicians and stay in New York, which she did. And Charlie Parker died in her apartment, and she took a drug rap for Thelonious Monk, and she was known as the only white woman in Harlem, and she was this hugely charismatic, eccentric figure who really did a lot for jazz musicians. And she was kind of slightly forgotten towards the end of her life. Most of the bebop players who she'd been in with had died, and jazz had moved on. And I read her story in a book by Hannah Rothschild, her great niece, called The Baroness, which was another of her nicknames. I just thought it was a beautiful story. And this is a jazz song in tribute. It's my only jazz song to date. Probably my only one ever, but you never know. But it's I've said this as a joke, and it's probably true. There are more chords in this song than there are on my first album. I mean, it depends how you count chords, really, but it's not far off.
What's
Anyway,
Matt Nazir think? I trust him.
Matt Nazir, I don't trust Matt Nazir, because he thinks the Penny Sang the Blues is in G. Anyway, and he's wrong, Matt.
I don't think he's wrong.
By the way, Matt Nazir just had, can we say that? Yeah, fuck it. Matt Nazir of the Sleeping Souls just had, his second child was born a few days ago, so let's hear it for Matt. And the new arrival, Alwyn, amazing,
so cute.
Beautiful. This song is called Nica, and it's about Nica Rothschild, and it goes like this. Oh, this song also, by the way, features a scat solo in the middle.
I'm going to let you do that.
That's why you came today. That's why you turned up.
That's why anyone goes to a Frank Turner show.
Exactly. Come down, Nica. You don't have to wait outside of the Stanhope for the doctor. Charlie Parker woke up in your apartment on the sofa, and he'll be fine once he's walked it off, and he'll meet you in the front row of the 5 spot around midnight to load up the Bentley. Bring the hollowed out Bible with the whiskey, 52nd Street. No phone calls from the cops or from your family can reach you. They don't know you. You're famous in your fur coat with Thelonious, the high priest, and the Baroness. The cats, they called you a butterfly, but that's not quite right. Nautica is a moth known to come alive. In the dark of night, she might flutter by your table. She might whisper something secret in your ear. You only need to hear one piece of advice. Each of us only gets one life. So calm down, Nica. You don't have to drive on down to Baltimore anymore. The cabaret car's waiting in the morning. Mail your mercy mission for musicians. Didn't fail, the onions, they are over. You're forever black, brown, beige, the bebop baroness. La da da da, ba 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 ba, la da ba ba, la da ba ba, la da da da, la da ba ba, ba ba ba, la ba ba ba. The cats, they called you a butterfly, but that's not quite right. Open Nica is a moth known to come alive. In the dark of night, she might flutter by your table. She might whisper something secret in your ear. You only need to hear one piece of advice. Each of us only gets one life. Nica spent hers fine, she was freer than No, but it's jazz.
It's jazz.
So I hit it on purpose.
You know, I grew up round the corner from her dad's butterfly collection.
Yeah.
True story. Yeah, it's not there anymore. Anyway, I'm going to leave you to it, baby.
Okay. She'll be back later.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Anyway.
I'm going to get a top up.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. Please do throw the spare cash that you have, if you have any, into the pot for this. None of us know how lockdown is going to end or when that's going to make a difference for venues, but it does feel like there's the beginnings of some potential light at the end of the tunnel. Nevertheless, venues have been through a nightmare. The venues that we've done these fundraisers for in the past are on safer ground than many, and I'm incredibly grateful to everyone who's donated in the past. But let's keep that going with the Portland Arms because it's such a killer place. I got thrown out of a venue in Cambridge when I was about 15, and I cannot remember if it was the boat race or the Portland Arms, but I got thrown out for crowd surfing the symposium gig, which dates me in several different ways. But anyway, but yeah, wonderful independent venues. Let's keep them going. The Stable Venue campaign is doing wonderful work. The Music Venue Trust and these little gatherings we have every week are part of that. All right, we've got some more birthdays the next decade. We've got a few in the next decade. Elliot Birchall is 11 years old. Elliot Birchall! Carson is 12.
Oh, cute.
Let's hear it for Carson! I'm going to pronounce this name correctly. The person who sent me this sent me the pronunciation. Arie is 15 years old. Let's hear it for Arie. I'm sorry if I got that wrong, but happy birthday. Katie Evans is 17. Happy birthday, Katie Evans. There we go. That's the next decade taken care of. I think they start thinning out as we go through. I don't know if that's demographics or people just not wanting birthday shout-outs when they get older.
I think it's maybe more ambiguous birthday dates.
Yeah, there's an ambiguous one coming up, I'll tell you that. Anyway, this next song is a song that's slightly the odd one out, or one of the odd ones out on this record, in that it's about somebody who is obviously not worthy of admiration, but it's about a female serial killer by the name of Nanny Doss, who is from Alabama, who did away with a number of her husbands by poisoning. Serial killing generally seen as a male pursuit, but it's not. I mean, it is.
The word pursuit.
Well, pursuit, affliction. So it's a terrible thing, but it's an intriguing and interesting thing to me. And one of the big inspirations for this album is Nick Cave's Murder Ballads, which is one of my favourite records ever, and I think that was part of the reason why this song ended up being on here. Anyway, this song is called A Perfect Wife. I'm going to play that better. I married Charlie when I was 15, but I didn't love him and he didn't love me. Frank was sweet, sent me poetry, but it wasn't the same as it was on TV. A lonely widow with no place to go. For a time I settled on the Florida coast. Rick and Ollie, they had to go and join the rest of my family's ghosts. Oh, 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 I haven't been a perfect wife. I'm a lonely heart, looking for the real romance in my life. Sam was a hard man with a real mean streak. Said women don't need romance magazines. I showed him with that last coffee, and now they can do anything they like with me. Oh, 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 I haven't been a perfect wife. I'm a lonely heart, looking for the real romance in my life. Take it easy, don't worry, I'll be fine in here. Sure I'll find my perfect mate, and my conscience is clear. Truth, I was bored, but nobody writes to me anymore. But cigarettes and prison walls to keep me company until I meet the Lord. The Lord knows that, oh, 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 I haven't been a perfect wife. I'm a lonely heart, looking for the real romance in my life. Oh, 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 I haven't been a perfect wife. I'm a lonely heart looking for the real romance in my life. Take it easy, don't worry, my conscience is clear. How are we doing over there?
Good. Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Apparently they're drinking when I drink or when I sing. So
Right.
I feel an enormous weight of responsibility now.
Well, tonight, friends, it's going to be a night that gets quite guitar heavy because I got a bit excited about tunings on this record. This is a song about the great astronaut Krista McAuliffe, who was one of the people who lost her lives in the Challenger space shuttle disaster of 1986. This song is going to be the first time in these Independent Venue Love song shows where I have repeated a song. The first time in however many years we've been doing this. But it's because it's a different version. The previous version on Positive Songs, Negative People, as I'm sure you know. And we have a visitor.
She's been sniffing around at our feet all night.
She's a bit confused that there's both of us today. We've got a couple more birthdays. Amy in Scarborough, 21 years old. Let's hear it for Amy in Scarborough. And Ollie is 22 years old.
They're also
Ollie,
important.
probably not in Scarborough. Don't know though, might be in Scarborough. Ollie, nice
Where
work.
are you, Ollie?
This song is called Silent Key, and it goes like this. On the 28th of January 1986, Krista McAuliffe gazed in horror as the O-rings failed, and she died, and she died, and she died for the next agonizing 2 minutes and 45 long seconds. She called out the truth on her broken radio. We're alive, we're alive, we're alive. Came as some surprise to realize that as she lost everything, the world was revealed in a transmission so real. She understood everything. We're still alive. 4,000 nautical miles as the crow flies away. A homemade ham radio in the loft of a Hampshire family home came alive, came alive, came alive. The 4-year-old amateur operator thus became the only person to hear Krista's last desperate communicate. We're alive, we're alive, we're alive. Came as some surprise to realize while he didn't catch everything, the world was revealed in a transmission so real that he understood everything. You're still alive. You're still alive. The darkness up above led me on like unrequited love, while all the things I need were down here in the deep blue sea. The darkness up above led me on like unrequited love, while all of the things I need were down here in the deep blue sea. The darkness up above led me on like unrequited love, while all of the things I need were down here in the deep blue sea. 4 years old, keep a moment's silence for my silent king. This is possibly too cute.
Possibly revolting.
Disgusting. Alright, thanks everybody. How is the fundraiser doing? Please.
I'll have a look.
I would be interested to know. Oh, that's not how that's supposed to be tuned.
It's been a really slick operation tonight, I think.
I know. Starting off looking at my own face.
We are on. We have raised 2.5k so far, I think.
Okay, so what's the total currently?
15.5.
15.5, that's fantastic. Let's try and get to 20 tonight. I would love to get to 20 tonight, everybody. And that's the amount of money that would put the Portland Arms in a much more comfortable place. Big shout out to Hayley and Simon. Well, Hayley at the Portland Arms and Simon, who's one of my older friends from the live touring circuit. He promotes shows for Green Mind in Cambridge and is a wonderful human. Simon. Anyway, so yeah, if you have any spare cash, shove it in the bucket. Please do this, and we will make a difference. And we will get out at the end of this in a meaningful way. As a music instrument. This song's about Mata Hari, who's one of the more well-known people on the record. But in a way, that's kind of the point. I read a book about her and realised I didn't know anything about her actually, and that all the sort of femme fatale stereotypes are kind of horse shit. So I was reading, and the thing I found interesting is she's a woman who navigated a hostile male environment for most of her life, using a shifting and very controlled sense of identity. And she was married off. She kind of a male. She answered like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like correspondence bride for a Scottish guy in the Dutch East Indies. I went over there, and he was an alcoholic, abusive drunk. And she got back from the Indies, having sort of escaped him, and she became a dancer in Paris. She became very famous. Mata Hari means Eye of the Day. And then during the war, she was accused of being a spy, Agent H21, and eventually executed by the French. It's still not 100% clear whether or not that was true. But safe to say she didn't deserve it. So this song is called Eye of the Day, and it's for Mata Hari. Called me Margaretha the day I was born. The day I died, the soldiers called me H21. And circuses and palaces, 100 names I've borne, from the bell of the epoch to the eye of the storm. If anybody asks, I name myself after the sun. I was a teacher when I was young, but I ran away from home to the East Indies and warm, warm sun. To what a man I did not know. He called me Lady MacLeod, but the times did not allow my complaints as drinking dragged him down. So in dancing peace I found. They called me a tourist when I began to dance. Amateur and courtesan when I came to France. In stages and in salons I held my tongue. I was never owned by any man or known by anyone. If anybody asks, I name myself after the sun. I never cared much for their war. I had seen men fight before, seen the sickness in their esprit de corps. And I would dance for them no more. They came to take me away from the Hotel Champs-Élysées. Told the soldiers I'd nothing to say. They wouldn't have listened anyway. Too many men had died, somebody had to pay. They set a date for my dying day. As I stood in that killing field, fusing a blindfold, staring down the soldiers and the hatred of the world, I felt the warmth of the Malay sun, and I smiled for them all. They all thought they had the best of me. Not one of them could say what I was called. Just before the darkness came, I whispered my real name. I am Mata Hari, I of the day. In the cells my body lay unclaimed. Anybody asks, name myself after the sun. If anybody asks, I name myself after the sun. Thanking you. How are we doing over there? How is everybody today?
Good. We jumped a grand when we said that. Well done, everyone.
Fucking right.
No.
Feel the power of my fingertips. But only used for good.
Did we? Yeah. Yeah,
I'll
we
stop
did.
talking.
No, I don't know. I might just be being moron. We jumped up.
We jumped up. Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody donating. It's hugely appreciated. It really makes a difference. Speaking behind the scenes, the people running the venues, they are enormously appreciative, and it is part of a collective effort that will pull us through all of this. And yes, the Music Venue Trust is there doing an overarching thing, but I've got this feeling that like once I'm able to do this, I'm going to do kind of like a tour of places I did these IVL shows for, and I will see you guys there. Whenever that may be. Anyway, more songs. Oh, more birthdays. I forgot to do birthdays last time around. Jess in Vancouver is not 30.
Not 30.
That's all I know, is that Jess in Vancouver
Oh,
is
no,
not
over.
30.
Excellent name, though.
Yes, good work.
Excellent name.
Danielle Friswell is 31, so she is definitely 31. Mike is 33. Let's hear from Mike. Happy birthday, Mike. Mark Elms is 34. Josh Gilbert and Mark Elms should be friends because then they could celebrate their birthday parties together because Josh Gilbert is also 34 years old. Woo!
You're only allowed to be friends with people exactly your own age.
That's going to be problematic. Anyway, this is a song about Dora Hand. And one of my favourite things in the last couple of years was going to Dodge City, to the Dodge City Museum to meet the head of the curator of the Dodge City Museum to talk about this song for the podcast. By the way, you can vote for the podcast on the British Podcast Awards. I will post links to that later. It would be appreciated if you did, if you enjoyed it. Anyway, this is this song about Dora Hand, a vaudeville singer who, after her death, it sort of came out that she was actually from a wealthy family on the East Coast, and she was a trained opera singer, but she kind of ran away from an abusive husband, ended up in Dodge City, became a wildly famous vaudevillian singer at the time, and was then killed in this wild love triangle business. I read the story and went, why has no one written a song about this? This is insane. So I did, and I used my historical sources, and incidentally, I've got more info on this for anyone who's paying close attention. The book that I read that had the most information about her initially was D. Brown's History of the American West. D. Brown's a great historian, and he's the one who mentioned that her funeral cortege consisted of 400 cowboys. According to the people at Dodge City Museum, we don't know if that's true, and we don't know where she's buried, but D. Brown said it in his book, and that's why I put it in the song. Anyway, it was lovely to be corrected by a real historian. This song is called The Death of Dora Hand, and like all the rest of them, it's a true story. Dora Hand was a singer in the New York operetta, born into Boston, old money, Paris train. Dressed in black, she was a classic beauty, cursed with constitution sickly. She ventured west to breathe the fresh air on the plains. She ended up down in Dodge City, was a cow town, dry and ugly. She hid her past, took Fanny Keenan for a name. Took the stage as a vaudeville singer, Lady Gay and the Alhambra. The cowboys loved her, she quickly rose to fame. Sing a song, boys, Dora Hand. She brought a little beauty to this hard and barren land. Doff your caps, boys, they'll save the dam for Dora Hand. Now to the Dodge smoke, she's an angel. They called her Lady Bountiful by day, Queen of Fairy Bells by night. She was bringing in good money, she gave plenty to the needy. She sure could sing, but she sure knew her wrong was right. Now lovely Dora, she took the fancy of that Mayor James Doug Kelly. Like many a man before him, he was hurt to say that their Dora is a beautiful creature. She brings men a strange nostalgia, dreams of finer things and better days. Sing a song, boys, for Dora Hand. She brought a little beauty to this hard and barren land. Dream a dream, boys, of a promised land, a Dora Hand. Well, now a young Spike Kennedy came out from Texas on a rolling black thunder cloud. He was a whooping and a whoring and a drowning in a whiskey like a one-man band like crowd. And one night he saw Dora singing at the Alhambra and he tried to slip the lady a kiss. But Doug Kelly got angry and he knocked him on his belly with a flick of his Kansas wrist. Well, now Spikey got mad, he was looking out for blood and he was raging when the devil stepped son. He brought her to the cabin which had made use of napping on a horse with a loaded 6-gun. Fine in the dark, but he didn't make his mark when the bullet passed through that wall. Kelly wasn't in his bed like there, and instead Dora Hand was killed. God damn it! I'm giving myself 6 out of 10 for that one.
Just
My first guitar solo, if you didn't know. Now the marshals, they raised a posse. They caught up with young Spike Kennedy. His daddy bought him free, even though he confessed. All Dodge City wept for Dora. Every bar closed as they buried her. 400 cowboys rode her to her rest. Sing along, boys, with the funeral band. We won't see her like again in this hard and barren land. Wave her off, boys, to no man's land. Dora Hand. Our Dora Hand.
Ow!
I'm sorry. Good lord.
It's very strong. It's very manly.
Yes. I hope everyone's enjoying the show. No Man's Land in full. We are getting through them. This is probably one of my favourite songs. I know that it's June.
It's June. You don't know.
I don't know. I've lost. We've been on
What is
lockdown.
time?
been in lockdown since the mid-1990s. I know that it's June, but and this is a Christmas song, but you know it's on the album, and to be honest, I feel like most rules about everything have gone out the window at this point. So here's a Christmas song. This song's about the graveyard of the Outcast dead, which is a graveyard in South London. That is a mass burial grave for medieval sex workers who were technically employed by the Bishop of Winchester, and then after working in that terrible trade, they were then denied burial in consecrated ground, and the whole thing's horrendous. And it was rediscovered in recent years, in particular by a guy called John Constable, who we had the pleasure of hanging out with at one of the ceremonies that he has down at the graveyard. That guy is an absolutely remarkable human, and one of my favourite people I've met in recent years.
Brilliant poet as well.
And a brilliant poet. And if you're interested in this song, he wrote a book called The Southwark Mysteries, which you should read because that's where a lot of this came from, and it's a lot more in depth than a 3.5 minute song. Anyway, want to play a Christmas song?
Yay!
How does this song go? It goes like this. They buried my body on Christmas in the ground by the South River bank. Worked to my death, for my very last breath, I had the Winchester bishops to thank. Now the church held the keys to the brothel, lit the window with a burning red light, while I teased the funds in the pockets of John's, that the bishop got rich in the night. Apart through my years in the dark for my lover, I guarded my pure, pure heart. And he meets me in the graveyard where they made my bed. Lots of white flower under cold stars in the graves of the forgotten dead. Now the bishop snuck off to fresh pastures. My grave was grown over with weeds. No burial plots, just some forget-me-nots for the women they branded clean. And the wasteland, it was claimed by the city. They covered it with tenement slums. But where we've been left, but never been blessed, they dug down and built on our bones. December with frost on his fingers, my lover returns, but he still remembers to meet me in the graveyard where they made my bed. Lots of white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. Sun goes down the last Christmas Eve. My lover still wanders bereft and bereaved, but he can't find the woman that he promised he'd meet. The sun comes up on the cold, cold ground. It's Christmas morning in London town. He lays on my grave and he cradles his head as he hears the church bells. He knows that I'm dead. Also London, don't mourn for your lovers. Raise a glass for us glorious dead. For beneath Southwark streets we outlasted the priests, and the city's raised up on our beds. Though we're gone, London, do not forget to meet us on Christmas in the graveyard where they made our bed. Plants of white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. Won't you meet us on Christmas in the graveyard where they laid our bed? Plants of white flower under cold stars on the graves of the forgotten dead. In the graveyard of the outcast dead. Yay! Woo! Christmas! Christmas!
I love Christmas.
I do love Christmas. Can we let's just skip to Christmas. So a friend of mine was saying to me the other day that his suggestion is that in January 2021 we all just declare it to be January 2020 again.
Start again.
We can all just take a year off our ages, you know, and therefore all the people on here will do them again next year. Speaking of, Kelly Ridley is 41. Woo! Sarah Goodwin is 42. Woo! Karen from DC, a number of people emailed me about Karen from DC, and some of them gave me her age and some of them didn't. So I'm just going to say that Karen's in her 40s and having a birthday. Hannah is 44.
Yay.
And Glenn Wellington is 47. Well done, Glenn. Nice work. And then also, this is one of my favourite ones at the moment. Kieran O'Brien is 40. But it is also the 28th anniversary of his first date with his wife Claire. Because they went on their first date on his 12th birthday. Yeah, they were like little kids. And they're still together now. Let's hear it for Claire and Kieran. That's absolutely amazing. And happy birthday, Kieran. Anyway, so put your money in the pot if you have money to spare. Please do. I want to keep these fundraisers going. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, actually, because there are some things to discuss. But in the meantime, this is a song about Huda Sha'arawi, an Egyptian women's rights activist who famously returned to Cairo after the First World War and ripped off her full face veil she'd been forced to wear all of her life as she escaped from the harem, from an arranged marriage. And she made this dramatic gesture that changed women's rights in the Middle East. And she was a devout Muslim, which I think is a really good corrective to the way that a lot of people think about the Middle East and about religion and so forth. You know what I'm talking about. And she was just this wonderful, incredible human being. And I wanted to write a song about her. And for the podcast, I got to speak to Sania Sha'arawi, her granddaughter, who is still with us. Sania Sha'arawi Lafranchi, as her name is, and she's an amazing person to talk to. So, yes, this song is called The Lioness, and it goes a little something like this. Said the times are hard for honest men, but she didn't give a damn. She wasn't one of them. I don't mean to imply that she ever told a lie, but she was raised in the harem and told to keep quiet. She isn't gonna hide her face anymore. She isn't gonna know her place anymore. Married off young and set aside, would have always been bright. She wasn't one to hide. She taught herself languages and poetry. She taught herself to speak so she could set herself free. Look on her works, you mighty men. She opened up the harem, then closed it up again. She stepped off a ledge and let herself fall free. She stepped off a train and into history. She isn't gonna hide her face anymore. She isn't gonna know her place anymore. She isn't gonna hide her face anymore. She isn't gonna know her place anymore. Huda Sha'arawi was the lioness, named, heart well fed, eyes aflame, face uncovered, showing what she overcame. Huda is a lioness, she won't be tamed. She isn't gonna hide her face anymore. She isn't gonna know her place anymore. She isn't gonna hide her face anymore. She isn't gonna know her place anymore. Everyone should know her name. The lioness will not be tamed. Everyone should know her name. The lioness will not be tamed. You're doing back and vocals from over
I
there.
do it from over here.
Okay.
Otherwise, I just sit through the whole song staring at you in a slightly
Well,
creepy manner.
yes, that is fair. That is a point well made. Oh God, I've run out of guitar room.
Oh, no,
No, it's fine. Oh fuck, what's going on? Jesus Christ. Anyway, hi
It's a
everybody.
sick operation, guys.
Is everybody having fun on the internet?
They are.
Good. We have a few more songs to go. A couple more quick birthdays just while we're here. Steve Walton is 50. Well done, Steve.
Yay! Big one.
Nice work. And Suzanne Huggins is 56. Well done, Suzanne. Nice work. Also, by the way, that last song's in the kind of louder end of the spectrum, and a few people have asked us over the weeks as we've been doing this what our neighbours think of this, and I think I'm right in saying that the neighbours number one are indeed watching this evening. So if you are, hi number one, hi. I hope you guys are enjoying the show through the internet rather than the wall. Anyway. This is a song about Princess Kassiani. Well, she's not Princess. Kassiani was a Byzantine noblewoman who famously, at a bride show, the Emperor Theophilus picked her out and she insulted him with an intelligent and witty quip, which he didn't get. And on it being explained to him quite what had gone down, he condemned her to live in a nunnery for the rest of her life, where she wrote music and poetry and aphorisms, and some of the music survives, and both the words and the tune to this are based on the hymn of Kassiani, which is still, I'm told, sung in the Greek Orthodox Church to this day. But she was a feisty character, but basically the original words to the hymn of Kassiani, which she wrote sort of, and it's a biblical allegory, but it sort of implies that that the emperor came to visit her later in life and she was still in love with him and all the rest of it. And I think that's kind of bullshit, and that actually he was a creep. Basically, that's the short version of that story.
I don't know that she was ever in love with him. I don't think.
No, there isn't. No. Anyway, it's a complicated story, but this is a song called "The Hymn of Kassiani," and it's co-write across 1,300 years of history, and that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. Big nerd.
I'm a big nerd. I've heard that they call me the woman who's fallen into many sins. It made me bear myrrh to the burial, and at the graveside I began to sing. Woe to all of you sinners, I'm the lady of a moonless night. The darkness to me is my ecstasy, but for my sins I am far from contrite. They dragged me away from the library, I was cast to the bright show's harsh light, where I told the king I was better than him, and thus earned Theophilus' spite. And Theo, he thinks I still love him, but I know that he knows not a thing. They call me Kassiani, the woman who rejected the king. Now the emperor, he tore down the icons, the images and words thought divine. But in the quiet of my cell, I redrew them all, and the name that I signed with was mine. I was scourged with the lash of my impudence, my tears were a fountain of brine, but I conceded no defeat, my groaning heart beats with defiant blue blood Byzantine. And Theo, he thinks I still love him, but I know and he knows not a thing. Don't disregard me as a servant, know me as the woman who rejected the king. Yes, I hid from his eyes when he visited, but don't dare think me frightened or meek. I was sick of his ineffable condescension, and I will not kiss those sacred feet. I will make his footsteps into music, to be heard by both heathen and Greek. I will mock his meandering and paradise at twilight, and they'll remember me. Kassiani, she who hates silence when it's time to speak. And Theo, he thinks I still love him, he knows not the multitude of my sins. They will sing my song after Byzantium is gone. I'm the woman who rejected the king, and I've heard all the things things that they called me. It's just so many arrows and slings. Give the glory to the stepmother and to the son, and the woman who rejected the king. Woo! I do like that song.
Yeah, me too.
Right, so we have 2 songs left, ladies and gentlemen, for one of which I'm going to wear a special red hat.
Special hat.
Not for any reason other than this was given to me by the people at the Stockport Hat Museum. They in fact made it in front of me, which was really cool, and they messaged me and asked if I could wear it for one song. So I'm going to wear it for one song. Here we go. We're going to finish off the birthdays. There's only 2 more to go. Tim is 60.
Yeah.
Nice work, Tim. And today's winner at the top of the charts, Simon Troop, is 64. Yes, Simon. Nice work. Excellent work. Anyway, what else do I have to mention at the moment? How's the fundraiser doing? Are we doing all right? I mean,
good. It's
hopefully
gone up again.
It's gone up again. That's good rather than down. People
We're
retracting
the best
money.
part is 17k, I think. Not all from tonight.
Oh, wait.
So, yeah, I think we've raised 4 or 5.
So we're on about 17. I want to get to 20. I'd love to get to 20. That would make me very happy, ladies and gentlemen.
20 guys.
Let's see what we can do. The Portland Arms. Mwah, what a beautiful place. What an important place. Anyway, so this was a song. I wrote this song on this very piano here. I'm not going to play it on the piano because it's out of tune right now. That's a good excuse, isn't it? It's a song about the story of L'Inconnu du Seine, Ressusci Annie, who was a anonymous virgin suicide in the Seine in Paris in the 1880s. And there's a whole bunch of myth and story around her. But one version of it is that the doctor who resuscitated her, or failed to resuscitate her, was so overcome by her beauty that he made her face into the face of the first CPR dummies in the world. Probably not 100% true, but as a songwriter, it's kind of difficult to resist an image like that. And it does bring quite a lot of interesting issues to mind about the male regard of the female form, if we want to get academic about it. It's also a cool thing to write a song about. This song is called Rescue Annie. I'm going to tune this guitar before I play it because, god damn it, otherwise... There we go, let's try it again. They found a body in the water, floating face down in the river. The one who found her called the doctor, so they say. Not a scratch, she wasn't bleeding. 16 years old, died a virgin. A lucky lover, she did herself in, so they say. Rescue Annie from the river. With every kiss she is delivered from the depths, and we forgive her for falling. Say the doctor could have saved her if he'd come a little sooner. Broke his heart to know he lost her to the world. While he couldn't rescue Annie, he resolved to tell her story. He used her face to make a body to teach the world. Rescue Annie from the river. Every kiss she is delivered from the depths, and we forgive her for falling bottom. The one who spurned her is forgotten. She is cherished by a million pairs of lips. Rescue Annie from the river. Press her chest right to revive her. Help her breathe or brains. Remember that in her heart we find our harbor. Every Carmelite summer lingers down there by the river. Rescue Annie from the river. In life our lonely lips were never locked in death, caressed forever. We all fell. That's a drinking game. Everyone drink now. I'm going to drink now. All right, listen, folks. This has gone on longer than they usually do, so I'm going to play one more song to finish off the album.
Chat.
I've been trying to tell the stories. But yes, thank you for tuning in. A couple of things before I go. First of all, I'm really proud of this record. People had opinions about this record, but you know what? I'm fucking proud of this record. I hope you've enjoyed it tonight, and I hope we've all learned a little something. There we go. That's the end of that shit. Secondly, much more importantly, Independent Venue Love 10. Here it is, folks and folkettes. The Portland Arms. We're raising money. We've got to hit that 20 grand barrier. That would make me very happy. But generally speaking, if you can support independent venues across the board, and of course, once we're able to get back out into venues, let's all go and make sure we go to gigs and indeed go to pubs and support that part of our infrastructure. It's important. Speaking of the next week, same time next week. So here's the thing I wanted to talk about. I've now run out of albums, or at least complete albums. I'm not going to start again because Jesus Christ. But there are a few things. I am writing a new one, but I'm not going to debut it on a live stream. Yeah. But what I am going to do is, there's quite a few covers that I have recorded and put on things like the first 3 years, second 3 years, third 3 years and stuff like that, which I have not been playing in previous weeks. So next week is covers week, ladies and gentlemen. So get your karaoke hats on. I don't know. There we go. That's my karaoke hat. Anyway, but yeah, so it's covers next week and it's for the venue Phase 1 in Liverpool, which is a great independent venue. And we're going to be raising money for them next week. And the last thing to mention is that tomorrow night at 8:30, Jess is doing a live stream of her own songs. If you wished that I would shut the fuck up while she was singing earlier, you can have that.
Well, you can do some harmonies online, and then all the people that were annoyed for me singing over you can
that's
be
true.
annoyed for you.
Yeah, okay. So tomorrow night on your Instagram,
yeah, my Instagram.
8:30 p.m. So same time tomorrow night, Jess. So on the Jess.guys,
Jess.guys, yeah.
At Jess.guys on Instagram, please do tune in because the new song Countdown is out and that's amazing. Anyway, right, the last song on this is the song that I wrote for my mum. Thanks for tuning in. Independent Venue Love Volume 10. This song is called Rosemary Jane. Rosemary Jane is the first out of bed every morning the same, but there's mouths to be fed with the money she gets from a man who is dead to himself and dead to everyone else. My sisters and I were always too young to remember the line about holding your tongue while the grown folks are talking, but the silence began long ago for Rosemary Jane. Sweet Rosemary Jane. It's Mothering Sunday, and the headlines should say that we haven't forgotten the remarkable way that you put all that pain on your shoulders and put it away. Rosemary Jane. When I think of the things you had to endure, we were young, we were callous, headstrong and unsure. You guided us gently to the right path, whether loved or ignored. Rosemary Jane. never gave up. Sweet Rosemary Jane. It's Mothering Sunday, and the headlines just say that we haven't forgotten the remarkable way that you took all the pain on your shoulders and put it away. Rosemary Jane, sweet Rosemary Jane. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Independent Venue Love Volume 10. Woo! Number 11 next week for Liverpool. Let's get involved in that. But in the meantime, have a good week and stay safe and sane and healthy and all that shit. And now I'm going to turn this off without looking like a douchebag.